I'm a Gito, she know, he know. The streets know I get 'em by the kilo. Nino, if you need those, holler on the dealer. I'm a Gito, she know, he know. The streets know I get 'em by the kilo. Nino.
Gotcha. Just for the relationship dynamic. So it just changes your focus, having any type of dynamic. It may be just the fact that if you're in a religion, you may have a religious dynamic, but you have to have something. It can't just be like, oh, I'm used to doing what I want to do, and you used to doing what you want to do, but now I don't want you to do what you want to do no more. I want you to do what I want you to do. And that becomes a lot of conflict. People don't understand that, those are things that you should already have established before you even jump into a relationship.
Right. Like people be like, first dates are always like fake, you know what I'm saying? Whereas people like go on a first date, they don't have these genuine conversations, and you don't find out who a person really is until you've been dating them for like a month. Like, why can't we have these conversations on the first date?
I mean, I normally come out front whenever
I'm sure you do, but I'm saying in general.
And we discuss it, and I'm kind of up for what I'm into. I'm into whether it be dominant submissive aspects of the relationship, whether it be, the family aspect of it, because I'm a father before anything.
Right.
That's my first job, so my first responsibility is to my kids. So
definitely.
But, that also adds a structure with them. More kids need dominant parents. They need a dominant father in the house.
Right.
Lay some rules down for them, some type of structure for them. And, that starts with everybody in the house. Your kids aren't going to respect the rules if they see you guys arguing and fighting and doing things. So you have to always kind of like be on the same page with things.
And that's one of the biggest problems in the black community is that the father isn't in the house. And like a lot of times, not on, like, society is already doing everything they can to keep the black man out of the family environment. And then we've got all these reality shows and TV shows showing us that women should also be keeping the child's father out of their life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just such a terrible thing where, like, even if you look at television nowadays, like when me and you came up, like, we had the Cosby Show, we had Family Matters, we had so many different family shows.
We saw fathers.
Exactly.
And that was pivotal for me because, my dad wasn't around, so a lot of the father figures that I did see were from TV.
Right.
Because my real life male influences was where I got my negative behavior from growing up.
Right.
Unfortunately, they were there, and it gave me that sense of masculinity that I needed, not to become completely, feminized by the women that were in my life, because I was raised by a lot of women.
Right.
So I had to have some type of male influence around me, whether it was, an aunt's boyfriend or my homies next door or the big homies or whoever it was.
Right.
But
and nowadays you look at television, there are no black family shows. Like, it's Blackish, and that's about it.
No, the dudes they got on these shows now are cheating on their women.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it's all these quote unquote reality shows, but it ain't reality at all. They scripted.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? So like to get back to
some people's reality, but that's the thing. It's like nothing's general anymore. You can't say, oh, this is what you're supposed to do anymore, because there's so many different types of relationships.
So many different ways.
So you have to really just be on the same page. A lot of people have this attraction towards one another, and they think that attraction just automatically translates into we're supposed to be together.
Right.
Instead of seeing if you're even compatible. It's simple as the game you played when you was a kid, the little squares and the circle and the stars and shit.
Right.
You like it, you know what I mean? You might like the shit out of stars.
Right.
If you a circle or a square, that's just not compatible.
Right.
You can try to squeeze it in there or whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you really kind of just gotta know what's best for you and don't accept anything other than that. Even if you care about somebody, you have to understand that they might not be the best person for you. It may be somebody else that's going to make them happier, and somebody that's going to make you happier. You don't have to alter and change who you are to please nobody.
And the number one thing is being honest with yourself. Like, if you don't know what you want, then how am I supposed to know what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be honest with yourself. Like especially like with the dominant submissive thing, I've come across women that feel that they need to fit a certain mold in order to impress me and try to do something that they're not comfortable with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it ends in failure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be who you are. I don't need you to be who I am.
Yeah. And it's a lot that goes with that too, because if a woman does care about you, she is willing to do whatever or try whatever it is to try to make you happy. And it should be both ways. You know,
Right.
you should want to put that effort into it, but it should be something that you do voluntarily.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be something that is forced on you, like, oh, you know, you have to do this to be with me, because that's not, you know, love right there. That's not the person you love. You have to change that. So, you know, but if you voluntarily just want to be a better person for the person that you're with, it's like, I can sacrifice having, you know, other women, or I can sacrifice my homegirls that are a bad influence talking to me and telling me, you know, just bad shit all the time.
Right.
I can do that for the betterment of my relationship, and you know, it's nothing wrong with that. You should want to put that in, but
I agree.
you have to be honest with yourself. Like you said, it comes with being honest with yourself. Is that what you really want to do?
Right.
Or do you want to be comfortable with the life that you choose for yourself? Either way, you choose it for yourself. So,
Without question. And like, and another thing, like especially like with the dominant submissive dynamic, I feel like it's something that's not talked about, and it's not something that like a lot of people really know information about. So most people are basing like the whole BDSM world off of what they see in 50 Shades of Grey, which is cool. But it's a pretty G-rated representation of what that lifestyle really is. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, definitely.
So like when that film came out and you saw it, I'm assuming you saw it.
I seen the first two.
And like when you saw it, like what was your initial thoughts of it?
I mean, it was, you know, a movie, I guess. I didn't really connect with it, like,
Right.
you know, on that aspect, because I'm not a rich billionaire dude. Like,
Right,
but,
right. That was a running joke. Like if Christian Grey was broke, he'd have been a weirdo.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Wouldn't have been romantic at
That's
all.
what it would've been,
Like,
for
you know
real,
what I'm
like,
saying?
and that's how most women view it, because they look at you, and the first thing they think of is like, oh, how can you even, you know, take care of
Right,
having a submissive? Because they think you need to have all that. But,
right.
so, I mean, but it had its introduction to a lot of people that didn't know, and it did pique curiosity for a lot of women that then became more interested in what it was about. So it did open doors, it did that, but it didn't give a clear representation of what it's about.
Right. Because like I think they romanticized it a little bit too much.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that it can't be romantic, because obviously it can, and obviously it is.
Yeah, definitely.
But like I feel like they Disneyfied it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they made it like a happily ever after.
Like Cinderella story, she's playing, you know, he's like this. Yeah, exactly. They did that, but that's what they do, you know, to make it. But the book I heard was amazing. I never read the book.
I never read the book.
My baby read it, I think, 10 or 11 times. She read all 3 of them. Like, I promise you, she hates the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing, you know, the book may be a better depiction of the lifestyle, because she was able to connect more with the book.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't base it on the movie. If you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, I would say read the book, because I didn't like the movie, but she read both. So
the one thing that I did like about the movie is like before the movie came out, you know, if I'm sitting, I'm chopping it up with a chick, and I'm like, hey, you know, got some rope at the crib, I'm about to tie you to the bed and spank you a couple times. I was a weirdo. But like now that the movie that came out, it's like, oh really?
You into that? Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So
like,
that.
yeah, like before, like if you tell a chick, you know, I'm into BDSM, they're like, what's that? What are you talking about? I don't know what that is. But like now you could just say, like, you know, I'm on that 50 Shades of Grey shit, and they be like, oh really?
And they get a little bit more. It gives them a visual.
Right, and then like you said, the interest gets sparked a little bit. Like, oh really?
Yeah. And then, like I say, every dynamic is different. Every dominant submissive relationship is different.
By far.
So it's not like that may be somebody's real life situation. Right. But in most cases, your relationship you can add a dynamic to the relationship.
Oh yeah.
And begin to just practice, you know, respect for one another, and etiquette, and being catering to one another, and you know, it's a lot that you can gain from it, but it's just all how you look at it. You know?
Without question.
A lot of women look at it, they see the spanking, and they're like, oh no, you ain't finna beat on me.
Right.
Like, that's not what that's about.
It's not at all. Like if you're not getting some type of erotic satisfaction out of it,
yeah, try something different.
Right.
It's about trying something different. It's about exploring. That's what BDSM is. It's exploration of your fetishes, of you know, things that you would want to try. You may read some stuff. A lot of it is just research. A lot of it is reading. It's not even stuff that you're doing. It's like, okay, let me see what this is about. You read about different fetishes, different kinks that people are into. And a lot of that shit, you know, you be like, you know,
nigga, not for me.
That's not for me.
You're right. Yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm cool.
You're not going to do that. And you might be like, well, she might be like, well, I don't know, Daddy, I might want to try that.
Right.
Like, well, if you want to try it, then
we'll try
that. As long as it don't violate nothing I personally have my limit, then we're good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm open to whatever it is that she wants to explore, and she allows me to, you know, if I have a curiosity about something, to explore that with her.
Right.
And that's what the BDSM element adds to a relationship. It opens up the sexual communication between you, because then you're able to tell your partner, like, this is the nasty shit that I think about that I don't want to tell you, because I don't want you looking at me like I'm a hoe, and thinking, you know, oh, what type of bitch am I fucking with? You know, and a lot of women have that fear, and then vice versa, men be like, damn, I don't want to tell tell her I want to do this, because then she's gonna be like, oh, is this the type of shit you out here, you this type of bitch, you know, so it's that it breaks down that barrier to where you're like, okay, this is what I'm thinking, you know, about this. What do you think about it? And then we'll try it. If we don't like it, you try it, you know.
I'm a Gito, she know, he know. The streets know, I get 'em by the kilo. Nino, if you need those, holler on a dealer. I'm a Gito, she know, he know. The streets know, I get 'em by the kilo. Nino, if you need those, holler